From a string of critical flops to shocking allegations of exploitation, Bruce Willis's final working years marked an unfortunate coda to a phenomenal career. And it all ended with this box office bomb. Originally intended for release in September 2022 under the title Die Like Lovers, the film Assassin had a limited theatrical release in March 2023, making it the final film in Bruce Willis's long and storied career. Directed by Jesse Atlas in his feature debut and written by Aaron Wolf, Assassin sees Willis play Valmora, the leader of a group of future soldiers who are able to hop into other bodies for their missions.
This is the future of drone warfare.
It sounds an awful lot like Brandon Cronenberg's Possessor minus the psychedelic imagery and wildly graphic violence, although Assassin takes the concept in a very different direction. When an agent is killed on a mission, his wife must take his place in order to get justice. Still, while its premise might sound neat, Assassin was savaged by critics on its release. It currently holds a miserly critics score of 9% on Rotten Tomatoes. Critics had a hard time with Assassin, many saying the movie had interesting ideas, yet had neither the budget nor the vision to see them through. Dennis Harvey wrote for Variety, "This movie pretty much consists of figures sans backstory or much personality killing others with even less of either in episodes minus any particular flair for action or suspense." That may seem harsh, but it seems to be consistent with other critical assessments. Take, for example, Richard Roper at the Chicago Sun-Times, who wrote that Willis seemed disengaged from the film and was missing his trademark twinkle. Roper suggested that, while there are some talented actors involved, the whole movie is a bit of a mess. He said, "Clocking in at a brisk 88 minutes, Assassin reaches a heartfelt but ludicrous conclusion, and you'll start to forget it moments after the final credits." Audience reviews on Rotten Tomatoes call out the film's convoluted plot and hollow acting, while others complain that Willis has fairly little screen time despite featuring heavily in the marketing. That said, it is worth pointing out that the audience score for Assassin is much higher than the critics' rating, currently sitting at 68%. Whether that's people trying to send Willis out on an inflated high note, or a matter of real dissonance between critics and audiences, is entirely up for debate, however. It's hard to overstate Bruce Willis's star power. His career blew up in the 1980s with both the Moonlighting television series and Die Hard, the latter of which made him one of the biggest action stars of his time.
Welcome to the party, pal!
Even as recently as 2019, Willis starred in Glass, the third installment in M. Night Shyamalan's Unbreakable trilogy, as well as Edward Norton's New York City Chinatown riff, Motherless Brooklyn. Unfortunately, it was around that time that he also began to appear in low-budget direct-to-video schlock, putting out 22 movies in the course of about 3 years. Fans were soon left wondering if there was something odd going on. Some pointed out that Willis seemed totally checked out from his performances, while others noted that it looked like he was wearing an earpiece and being fed his lines. According to a report published in the Los Angeles Times, Willis would work for just a day or two on each film, getting his limited scenes done as quickly as possible, and then the marketing would try and sell audiences on his involvement. Of course, it's not unusual for formerly massive stars to take on direct-to-video films to try and stay relevant and make a buck. Here, though, it was beginning to seem like Willis wasn't fully aware of his involvement in these movies, or that he was somehow being exploited by somebody in his life. In the LA Times report, director Mike Burns, who worked with Willis on the 2021 film Out of Death, detailed some of his concerns about the actor's condition on set. Burns said that he had been asked to shorten lines to the point that he needed to condense 25 pages of dialogue down to something that could be filmed in one day. Despite his reservations, Burns ended up signing on for another film with Willis, Wrong Place, after an associate reassured him that the actor was doing better. Apparently, though, things had become much worse, and Burns swore off working with Willis again. Some criticism was much more scathing and humiliating. For example, the Golden Raspberry Awards created an entire category for the worst Bruce Willis film in 2022. The YouTube channel Red Letter Media also took notice of the Bruce Willis Movie Factory, as they dubbed it, putting together an extensive look into the films while at the same time questioning Willis's awareness of what was going on. In 2022, Willis's family revealed that he had been diagnosed with aphasia, a language impairment that affects a patient's ability to communicate. In the same statement, they also announced his retirement from acting. Just a few months later, several sources who spoke to the LA Times accused movie producer Randall Emmett of exploiting Willis and continuing to employ him despite being well aware of his declining health. Speaking about Emmett, one writer and former colleague said, "His normal mode of business is being sketchy. He just spins all these plates in the air and doesn't care how they crash." Many fans are now trying to contend with the meaning of Bruce Willis's final movies in the context of the actor's greater legacy. Of course, it's up to viewers whether or not they feel like those final films tarnish Willis's overall career, though it could reasonably be argued that they represent little more than a small stumble in an otherwise phenomenal filmography.
Zed's dead, baby. Zed's dead.
There are dozens of fantastic Bruce Willis movies out there, and he's worked with many of cinema's biggest directors over the years, including Quentin Tarantino, M. Night Shyamalan, Wes Anderson, Robert Altman, Terry Gilliam, and more. For every one of Willis's late career disasters, he has an equally great film to balance it out. Yes, it's a shame that he ended up taking on some less than stellar roles during his final years, and the allegations against those who appear to have exploited them are truly shocking, but nobody should hold that against him. Truth is, Bruce Willis will always be a true Hollywood legend, and no low-budget direct-to-video cash grab could ever change that.